Hi guys, so today we are going to continue to investigate the question, what happened to the oxygen and why? We are working on the standard to be able to use argument supported by evidence. Remember, we always want evidence as a scientist, right? For how the body is a system of interacting subsystems composed of groups of cells. And so far we have seen how the digestive system connects and works together with the circulatory system. And now we are taking a look closer into the circulatory system and how it actually connects to our respiratory system. So our objective today is to see how red blood cells transport oxygen to cells and carbon dioxide away from cells. So we have learned and we have proven through our experiments, because we don't want to just take somebody's word for it, right? We have proven that we breathe in oxygen and that we exhale carbon dioxide. So if we are breathing in mostly oxygen, where does this carbon dioxide come from that we're breathing out? Okay, that's our question. And what happened to all the oxygen? Why isn't the oxygen coming back out? Something had to be happening to it inside the body. So that's the question we have been investigating. So here are some fun facts for you. Inhaled air contains about 21% oxygen. And exhaled air contains about 17% oxygen. So there is a missing percentage. Can you do the math? How much percentage goes missing in your body? 4%, right? 4%. So what happened to that 4% of oxygen? Why did it not come back out of your body? What did your body do with it? All right, so that's what we are trying to figure out. And then where did all that carbon dioxide that you are exhaling, where did that come from? So remember, the oxygen enters the capillaries and leaves the respiratory system. So we drew this diagram the other day together. Remember the oxygen coming in, going down through your trachea, and then once it's in the trachea, it goes and branches out into one of your lungs, which go all the way down to the alveoli, which then connect to the capillaries, right? And then it enters into your bloodstream. All right, so this says, your molecule of oxygen ended up in the alveoli, but none of the oxygen has been used for anything. Something must happen to it after it diffuses out of the respiratory system. Where does it go? So make a prediction about where the O2 molecules go after they diffuse through the alveoli. And before you make your prediction, think about the following questions. What parts of the body do you think need the oxygen? The oxygen must move somewhere in the body. Is there anything you have learned about that can transport molecules to other subsystems in the body? How did our sugar get transported? Think. And how might our oxygen get transported? Predict where you think the oxygen goes after it leaves the alveoli, and then state your reasons for making this prediction. So I'm going to have you answer this question in the Google question. So you can go ahead and pause the video right now and answer the Google question, and then come back to the video to find out if your prediction was correct. All right, so you should have realized that cells or all parts of the body need the oxygen. And the circulatory system transports sugar molecules to other subsystems in the body, right? We learned that already, that it gets taken from the small intestine into the circulatory system to go to all the cells in your body. And then you should have made your prediction in the Google Classroom question. All right, so in the digestive system, the capillaries connected to the villi. Remember the finger-like things that we called the villi, right? And the sugar diffused through the villi to the capillaries. And in the lung, oxygen is diffusing through the alveoli to the capillaries. See a similar system here, right? So I want you to place your hands on your waist so that your fingers of each hand touch the area at the base of your ribs, okay? So right under your ribs. Okay, now I want you to take a deep breath again several times. Can you feel the movement here? Do you feel the movement when you take that deep breath in? This is your diaphragm, okay? It looks something like this, sitting right underneath your rib cage, your diaphragm. It is muscle tissue that contracts when you inhale. Did you feel it contracting? And it relaxes when you exhale. So when it contracts, it allows the lungs to expand and take in oxygen. That's what we need for our body, so we've got to take it in. As you might recall, I hope you recall, because this is going to be on your test, right? The part of the blood that carried the sugar molecules was the plasma. You have another part of your blood that is called the red blood cells. Remember our little sample of blood? Well, there at the bottom, those are the red blood cells. And this is what they look like, kind of zoomed in. These are the red blood cells, and do they kind of look like little donuts, right? The scientists kind of call this the donut shape. And the donut shape makes them very flexible, and they can change easily, so they can kind of be smooshed into small places, all right? So the red blood cells can kind of get smooshed into those tiny, tiny capillaries. Because remember, your capillaries are really tiny because they got to get to little places like the pinky finger, remember? They got to go all through your body to those little tiny places. So they branch out into small capillaries. And the red blood cells are really flexible. And they can squeeze in single file through your capillaries. All right, so let's think back to the air we exhale. Remember the air we exhale, we breathed into that little indicator and it turned a yellowish green color because it was filled with carbon dioxide, right? So in the air that you inhale, there actually is a small amount of carbon dioxide because if you exhale it, it's in the air, right? And if you breathe in air, you're going to get some of it back, but it's only 0.04% of the air you're breathing is carbon dioxide. That's not very much. Guess how much you breathe out? 4.5% of what you breathe out is carbon dioxide. So where did the carbon dioxide come from? That's the question. All right, in lesson 5, we investigated yeast. Remember the yeast experiment where we put the balloons on the test tubes and watched to see which one would blow up the balloon? That one was pretty cool. So the balloon showed us that the yeast used the sugar for energy to reproduce and gave off waste. The gas in the balloon was a waste product. Yeah, kind of gross, like yeast burps, okay? Was filling up the balloon. Waste product. And the gas was actually carbon dioxide. So do you guys think that your cells might actually create a waste product of carbon dioxide when this chemical reaction occurs in your body? Something to think about. Interesting. So what happened to the oxygen while it was in the body, and why was it taken? If you guessed that the oxygen was needed for the chemical reaction to occur between the sugar and the oxygen to produce energy, you were correct. And where does all the carbon dioxide come from that is exhaled? So the carbon dioxide is actually a waste product. So when you have a chemical reaction, something is created. So in this case, energy is created, and that's what we want. We need the energy, but we also create carbon dioxide through this chemical reaction. So the carbon dioxide becomes a waste. We don't want it. We don't need it in our body. Actually, if we have too much of it, it'll make us very sick. So we need to get rid of it. It's a waste product. So the carbon dioxide is actually a waste product that comes from the chemical reaction that is occurring in your cells. So do you think that you have satisfactory answer about what happens to the oxygen? A good detective always looks at the evidence. So what evidence do you have? Let's think about our evidence. There is oxygen in the room air that we breathe. And we proved that with the burning candle, right? We know that fire needs oxygen to burn, and that candle burned just fine in my kitchen forever, and then I had to blow it out because it would not stop burning, right? Okay, and then we breathe out oxygen. And we saw that because we put the candle under the air that we had breathed out, and for a few seconds, it actually stayed burning. So there was oxygen in that air that we had breathed out. And we tracked the path of oxygen in the body, and we saw that it went into the red blood cells. So the last location of the oxygen in the respiratory system was in the alveoli. Remember that? It traveled through your lung to the alveoli that were in there. And when it leaves the alveoli, oxygen diffuses into the circulatory system. And since it enters the circulatory system, do you think it is moved to the cells like the sugar molecules are? Yes, it is, but it travels through the red blood cells, right? And the sugar molecules are traveling in the plasma. So what systems are involved here in getting the sugar and the oxygen into your cells? Well, the digestive system and the circulatory system are what move the sugar molecules to your cells. And it is the respiratory system, you know, your system of how you breathe in the air, and the circulatory system, the blood pumping through your veins, that are involved with moving the oxygen through the body. So let's review our setup here. Groups of cells form together to make tissue, right? And tissues group together to make, do you remember? Groups of tissues make organs, okay? And then groups of organs together make, do you remember? We put organs together, we get systems, right? So all of our systems are made up of organs. And then those systems working together make the organism. They make you and me what we are. So we know that oxygen goes to the cells. That is their final destination down on the bottom in the cells. So what is it doing there? Why does the oxygen need to go to the cells? Oh, I think you guys know. Can you tell me? Tell me tomorrow, okay? All right, you're gonna fill out your Google form, 6.2b, oxygen and carbon dioxide. Let's go ahead and finish that form so you have attendance for today, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.